the Las Vegas Raiders and the new look Pete Carroll and the Raiders have a whole lot of new systems being implemented, right? Whether it's defense, whether it's offense. We're going to take a look at Pete Carroll, what he primarily runs. You know, he runs pretty much a 4-3 defense that sometimes has a 3-4 base and, has a hybrid Leo guy, which has been often imitated but never duplicated because they haven't had the athleticism, the players, or the coaching staff or the personnel to quite duplicate the Legion of Boom. Well, the Raiders now have the Allegiant of Doom, baby. So, welcome. Shout out to everybody. I don't know if anybody's here. I might be talking to myself. It's a little late. Robert Penna, what's good? What's good? Unleashed Raider. Appreciate you popping up. Let me minimize this. Oh, that's much, much better. Oh, I should have put the green screen up because that looks horrible. What's good? What's good, man? So, yeah, we're going to talk about Robbie Leonard. We're also going to talk about, a little NFL news. Former Raider AB, right? Antonio Brown is in the news. Wanted. Not a good look. Not a good look. We'll talk about that, what he is wanted for. Get your thoughts, get your comments. Also, this team is scary, yo. This team is absolutely scary. The more I think about it, the more homework I do. Pete Carroll's defense of scheme, what he's trying to run, the players we have, Jeremy Chin to play that, kind of big nickel guy. This defense looks scarier and scarier every second. 401, what's good? Appreciate you pulling up. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about it. Um, Oh shit, it's not gonna let me leave the screen at all. Fuck. Okay, well. Oh wait. All right. My bad. All right. Okay. Much better. Damn. So let me read some of this. Like I said, Pete Carroll primarily runs the 4-3 defense. It's with a 3-4 personnel. Um, Often referred to as the 4-3 under defense. It utilizes a cover three zone scheme with a hybrid approach that was very, very popularized by Pete Carroll and his defensive coordinators. They emphasized a very strong pass rush, physical play, and ball hawks, right? Ball hawks at the corner position, at the safety position, even at the linebacker position. They didn't have to cover for 15, 20 yards, right? Like I said before on the live a couple days ago, they're going to put these linebackers that don't have the best stats when it comes to covering in the flats or covering tight ends or running backs. They're going to put these guys in situations where they're not running around all day, right? They're not going to get tired for, linebackers having to cover 15, 20 yards downfield on deep post routes from, from a tight end or wheel routes from a running back. So, um, the four, the 4-3 base formation, featured, of course, four down linemen with three linebackers and four defensive backs. Now, it's not letting me pull up these pictures. Maybe I shouldn't have went in this new angle. So we're gonna have to break this down tomorrow. No pictures, just talk, I guess. Damn it. Well, that sucks ass because that kind of just ruined everything. So, while having a 4-3 base, the Seattle Seahawks often utilize the 3-4 defense principles, particularly with the hybrid defensive end / linebacker position known as the Leo, right? Cover 3. It divides the field into thirds, right? With three deep defenders covering the deep zones, which is really hard to explain without photos. So, um, that's ass. But yeah, so we know Pete Carroll's system. You got to have speedy athleticism, athletic guys. And Pete Carroll's even said, he prefers to have speedy athleticism guys up front on the defensive line instead of, you know, big 320-pound guys up there. Um, but he seems to be very obsessed with Lucky Tossi. I think that's his new favorite player right there. That's all he seems to talk about lately. Um, but how could you not be, right? This dude's a gigantic, gigantic man. Um, Pete Carroll was also known for his creative blitz packages and pressure schemes. The defense is also known for its ability to adapt and adjust its coverages based on the opposing team's offensive formation and tendencies. So these guys, they're gonna be in one or two formations. They're not gonna move around a whole lot, right? They're gonna know their job. There'll be a little bit of guys probably moving, here and there when the ball snapped, but most of the linebackers are gonna, play the inside. They're gonna cover the middle of the field. A big, huge problem that we've had for a long, long time. Um, so you got your two linebackers running a hook. You got your edge, which is I guess I don't know, kind of the Leo. And then you got your big nickel, which is going to be Jeremy Chin, which has the option, to blitz, to read the run, to cover in the flats. This dude's going to be utilized. It's going to be scary, man. The more I think about it, and the more I see this man, out there working out, his work ethic, his knowledge of the game, the tape I watch of this, the way he disrupts passes, he's always around the football. He's going to be a problem, and he's going to be a bigger problem in a Pete Carroll and a Patrick Graham system. They're going to find ways to use these guys like we have never seen before. I promise you. So I guess, well, I can't pull shit up, so we'll just go where we left off last night. So last night we were talking about the offense of coaching staff. Today we're going to talk about the defensive coaching staff. Get to know these guys a little bit better than what we do. Marcus Banks was good. Appreciate you pulling up. I won't be able to see the chat for a sec. Actually, I'll pull it up on my phone. Never mind. Um, yeah. So let's get into the defense side of the ball. We talked about Patrick Graham, his 17 years experience. We know he's had, a problem stopping the run, but has it really been Patrick Graham, right? He's never been the run defensive coordinator. He's had, mainly the backs to worry about. We know Robbie Leonard takes care of the defensive front. But we got some different guys in the building, right? Some guys I think are going to change things around. So the first, number one, is John Glenn. John Glenn, if you don't know, now you know, is our new linebackers coach. He enters his 14th year in the NFL. 14th year as an NFL coach, and mostly recently served as the assistant special teams coach for the Washington Commanders in 2024. So, what that means is this guy was on a team that just went through a quick rebuild, right? They were at the bottom. Now they're here. They were in the playoffs. They were one game away from the Super Bowl. A team that was at the bottom of their division last year. Worst in every category almost in the NFL. Remind you of anyone? Reminds me a lot of somebody. Anyways, prior to the Commanders, he spent 12 seasons, 2012 to 2023, in multiple roles with the Seattle Seahawks. That's right, Pete Carroll, a guy that knows what he's trying to do, a guy that knows what he's trying to do with his linebackers. He can put these guys in the right position. He can have these guys, prepared, right? Know what they're trying to do. Like I said, they're not going to have to cover a whole lot of the field. It's going to be cover three. They're going to have their own little areas. Probably one's going to be blitzing a lot more than the other. I think we're going to see a whole lot more blitzing out of Patrick Graham than we've ever seen before, which is going to be good because I think we have the athleticism. We have the guys to do it. So, anyways, he had multiple roles with the Seattle Seahawks, including the linebackers coach from 2018 to 23, assistant linebackers coach 2017, defensive assistant 2016, quality control for the defense 2014 and 15, and coaching assistant slash special teams 2012 to 2013. He entered the league after spending um, 2 seasons, 2010 and 11, as the University of Washington's quality control coach for 3 seasons, as a linebacker coach for North Carolina. What is that? Wes Wesleyan College? I don't know what that is. But the whole point of this is the 12 seasons with Pete Carroll. Not just one, not just two, not just three. So now you have a guy that's going to help not only our linebackers, but he's going to help Patrick Graham, PG, tremendously in trying to implement, you know, and make sure he's picking up what Pete Carroll's putting down, what he wants to do with his defense, how he wants to attack, how he wants to play in the flats, what guys he wants covering, what guys he wants on the field. I think Pete Carroll's going to have a bigger say in that than we believe, right? Last year, I think it was more Patrick Graham. He played, who he wanted to. We all know Luke Getsy played who he wanted to. So I think this year it's going to change. And this man's going to help make it easier, not only, like I said, for the players, the linebackers, but for the coaches as well. Not to mention, you have him and Pete Carroll with their 12-year relationship, right? And then you have Robbie Leonard, who I keep preaching is the run game coordinator now, also the defensive line coach. We've seen what he's done with all these guys, Belai Nichols coming through, you know, Adam Butler, uh, even Tyree Wilson, right? Baby steps, but he's getting there. Don't give up on Tyree. So we know what Robbie Leonard can do, but the key is that he's been with Patrick Graham going on 4 years, right? They start to know each other. These guys, after 4 years of constantly being in meeting rooms, constantly being around each other, should know each other very, very well, right? So the defense, the defensive line, it shouldn't be a hard transition to try to get everybody on the same page, which in the past, it seems like it's been a very, 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 very daunting task, right? For these coaches to get everybody on the same page. We've seen it. We've seen miscues, right? We've seen guys just constantly getting cooked out there, and mostly because they didn't look like they didn't know what they were doing, right? If you're starting to go right and then you're like, oh shit, I should have went left. It's too late. It's the NFL, which stands for not for long if you don't know what you're doing. So one step the wrong way could be the outcome of a game, right? That could be a big play, a touchdown. Assistant defensive coordinator, Keenan Jackson. Don't know much on Keenan Jackson. Entering his third year in the NFL and his first season as the assistant defensive line coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. He most recently served as the assistant defensive line coach for the Houston Texans in 2022. After one season as a defense assistant with the Miami Dolphins in 2021. Prior to his coaching career, he played 4 seasons, 2016 and 19, as a defensive lineman for the University of Illinois. So, Arkansas boy, hometown Little Rock. I'm sure got that dog in him. But a guy that's played, right, that's been on the defensive line, that's going to help these guys. He's not too old. Robbie Leonard's just going to bring him along with their experience. I think it's really going to help this defensive line, help these young guys, and the speed that we're getting on the defensive line, man. Go watch these guys in practice. Tonka Hemingway out there, JJ Pegues, Jonah Lalu, Tyree Wilson, all these guys, bro. All these guys look fast. They look crisp. They look ready to go, right? Their footwork. You shouldn't have 300-pound men lifting their feet, running through bags, the way they do every single day, right? Before they go out and stretch, then they do their little bag drills. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, man. It's all over. Just type in mini camp, OTAs. You'll get plenty of footage, but these guys are coming along, man, and they're coming along very fast. If you've seen the title, it says Pete Carroll, right? QTA. What does QTA stand for? Quick turnaround. We'll get into that here in a bit. By Rasul, defensive quality control. Entered his first season in NFL after spending one season with the University of Florida as a quality control cornerbacks coach. Okay, Florida has some dogs out there. Prior to Florida, he served as a cornerback coach and special teams assistant for Bowling Green State University in 2023 after 2 seasons as a senior defensive assistant, 2021 to 22 at the University of Arizona, where he spent 2 years. He also spent 2 years at the University of Missouri as a graduate assistant, working with the safeties in 2019 and defensive line in 2020. He also served as a secondary coach and recruiting coordinator in Eastern Arizona College from 2014 and 16. After coaching cornerbacks at Pima Community College in 2012. So this man has been obviously like a Pete Carroll guru, right? Constantly coaching defensive backs. That's his main thing. That's his specialty. It's nice to have guys in the building that, I like it when they have been quality control, defensive quality control, right? Defensive line assistant, head coach assistant, right? Those are all jobs you got to get depending on what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to be a GM, you got to be a scout. You got to know all those positions. If you're just trying to be a head coach, you still want to know most of them, but it's not as much as trying to be a GM, right? You want a bigger resume is what I'm trying to say. So, if you're trying to get into defensive back coach, stuff like that, when that's your MO and that's all you've done, from college to college to college, and now somebody, seen the job he's doing, which is Pete Carroll, a damn good coach, right? And Patrick Graham to bring this guy up and give him his first year as defensive quality control could be big, right? Could be another sneaky secret weapon. Speaking of secret weapons, man, this is mine right here. I think this is a big reason our underestimated cornerback room and defensive back room is going to be better than people think. A lot better than people think. Besides the fact that Pete Carroll is a defensive back guy, and that's his MO, right? We've heard everybody that they've interviewed from Jacorian Bennett to Isaiah Palmau to Darian Porter to it doesn't matter, right? Lonnie Johnson, everybody, Jeremy Chin, they've all said the same thing. They've never seen a coach that's so hands on. Now, pause if necessary, but they've never seen a coach that's so hands on when it comes to you know breaking these guys down one on one, showing them technique, right? Explaining what he's trying to do, so they don't have no questions, right? So they know what's going on. So being a hands-on coach, right? Getting out there, showing these guys how to backpedal, how to turn your hips at 74 years old has to do two things, right? It has to be like, damn, I can't let this guy show me up. right? If you're an alpha male or you have any pride at all as a young man trying to make it in the NFL, if your 74-year-old coach comes with the energy every day and you're coming in like, man, it's hot out here. I don't want to be here. Is practice over yet? Where my watch? Right? Start the car, turn the air on, type shit. Yeah, nobody's gonna be like that, and we haven't seen anybody like that. We seen a little bit last year, right? Not everybody looked like every day they were ready to go, and it's the NFL. It's it's a daunting task, and I think it's been even harder this year. They've put these guys through the ringers. I've watched nonstop every piece of footage that I can find on mini camp, on mandatory mini camp, everything. Anytime they've been on the field, anything that's put out there, I've seen, I've watched over and over again, and it looks different, man. It looks different. Practice looks exciting. It looks like these guys that want to be here when they're stretching, right? When they're out there stretching, everybody's yelling, they're screaming. You got guys like Amari Gainer, who a lot of people saying this dude does not shut up in a good way, right? He's talking trash constantly. You want to see that. I want to see that. I'm one of the biggest Amari Gainer, fans. I said from day one when they drafted him at UDFA, this dude should have been drafted, and the NFL is all gonna be sorry when this dude gets on the field. I'm sure he has every single team, all 31 teams listed. How many times they passed him, which he was a UDFA, so that's a lot, right? 200 and what 40 something picks. This man has a chip on his shoulder, and all I've heard from the coaching staff that talks in interviews, from little birdies, um, Mark Gainer is looking very, very good. He's fired up. He's running around, you know, wild, crazy, bringing the energy, and that's what you want to see, right? We have three Pro Bowl type linebackers right now that if they wanted to run a 4-3 defense, which I don't think they'd run three linebackers. I'll get to that here in a bit. But if we wanted running the one blah, 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 if we wanted to run, a 4-3 type defense, we could do that. We could easily do that, right? Not a lot of teams nowadays, if any. Does anybody run a 4-3 anymore? Not too many teams have a Mike, a Sam, and a Will, right? They usually have kind of like we're going to do, you know, you have two linebackers and then you bring their safety down in the box, let them play around there a little bit. Um, I think that's going to be, I think that's going to be a lot of what we do this year. But let's get into it. This man right here, Marcus Robertson, 18 years, an 18-year NFL coaching veteran, enters his second stint as a coach with the silver and black. Welcome back to the Raiders, man. I hope he stays for a while. I wish he would have never left the first time. I was very pissed. Um, After coaching defensive backs from the Raiders 2014, 2016, yes, 2016. Does anybody know what year that was? 2016. I'll wait. We had a dominant team. We were stomping everybody's ass. I think we started out 5-2 that year. And then Derek Carr. Y'all know the history. Come on, I'm not going to go into it. But yes, he was the coach, the defensive back coach on that team. Most recently served as a secondary coach for the New Orleans Saints 2023 to 2024. And he held the same role with the Arizona Cardinals 2019 to 22 and the Denver Donkeys 2017 to 18. He coached the Detroit Lions secondary in 2013 after being promoted from assistant secondary coach in 2012. He began his coaching career with the Tennessee Titans as an assistant secondary coach for 2 seasons, 2007 to 2008, before being promoted to a secondary coach from 2009 to 2011. I can't do this shit. He played in the NFL for 12 years with Played in the NFL for 12 years with the Houston Oilers. Some of y'all ain't even old enough to remember the Houston Oilers. What am I saying? Everybody in my chat probably is. Um, but if you're not, go look it up. Go look it up. And damn, he was there too. With the Tennessee Titans, 1991 to 2000. Hmm, I did not know that. And the Seattle Seahawks, 2001 to 2002. After entering the league with Houston as a fourth round selection, 102 overall in the 1991 NFL draft from where? 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 Iowa State? Iowa State, anyone? Anybody know who's from Iowa State? Let me know in the chats. I know I can't see it. Like I said, I won't be able to see the chat for a minute until I get through this long, lengthy ass shit. And if I keep talking so long, it's gonna take forever. All right. So my man, Rip Brown, defense assistant. Let's get into my guy Rip. Oh, Rip Rowan, not Brown. Fucking entered his first year after spending 3 seasons as a defensive line coach in Georgia Southern. He spent 2021 as the defensive line coach and the University of Washington after working as a defensive analyst for 2 seasons, 2019 and 20. Prior to Washington, he served as a graduate assistant and coach from Florida Atlantic. Began his college coaching career as a graduate assistant from um, at Southern Miss. So there you go. Not much information on him. Passing defensive back coordinator Joe Woods, another guy that is really gonna really, and I can't express really how many times it's gonna help this franchise and his defense when it comes to just constantly getting cooked in the backfield. And I would say I promised that, but damn, I've promised a lot of shit. I'm gonna hold off on the promises for a little bit. Some of them got to come true first before I keep going. He returns in a second stint with the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back, my guy. Bringing with him 33 years, bro. 33 years of coaching experience, including the last 21 seasons in the NFL. He most recently served as a defensive coordinator with the New Orleans Saints from 2012 to 2022 to 23. After serving as a defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns in 20 to 22. Prior to his tenure in Cleveland, he served as a defensive back coach and a passing game coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. In 2019. Were they in the Super Bowl that year? Somebody let me know. He spent 4 seasons in Denver from another donkey, 2015 to 18. So if you didn't notice and you weren't here yesterday, I think we had 6 coaches on the offense that somehow coached for the Broncos and the Chiefs, but none of them for the Chargers. Kind of weird. And now on defense, we've already had, I think, 2 that have coached for the Broncos. So seems to be a trend here. A lot of these coaches have been in the AFC West, which I don't know how much it means because they were some of them, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But still, when you coach for teams like Cleveland, the 49ers, the Saints, these are all teams that have damn good defenses. So he spent 4 seasons in Denver from 2015 to 18, where he served as defensive back coach in his first 2 seasons and as the defensive coordinator in his final 2. So this is a man that only had 2 years as the defensive back coach, and they said, bullshit, we're making this man defensive coordinator. So in 2 years, he jumped to the DC job. That's a big step. That says a lot for me. Where he served as a defensive back coach in his first 2 seasons. Did I miss something? Oh, no. And defense coordinator in his final 2. In 2024, he coached the Oakland Raiders secondary. 2014. So if you put 2 and 2 together, right? He was also here in 2014 when Marcus Robertson was here in 2014 through 2016. Um, he coached the Raiders secondary prior to his 2 seasons in Oakland. He spent 8 seasons coaching defensive backs in Minnesota. He worked as a secondary coach with Tampa Bay for 2 years. Before joining Tampa Bay, he served as a defensive back coach for 3 seasons at Western something, again at Kent State University, again at Grand Valley. He began his coaching career as a defensive back coach at Muskingum College, Muskingum. Muskingum. I've never heard of that shit in my life. I'm gonna be honest with you. Learn something new every day. So that's where he began his college career. But another guy, 33 years coaching primarily nothing but defensive backs. Defensive coordinator, but mainly defensive backs. That is huge for these young guys that everybody says, oh, we need to go get Jalen Ramsey. Oh, we need to go get Jair Alexander. Damn, we got Shaquille Griffin in the building. But he didn't sign as fast as my guy Pratt. Was it just because it was a weekend thing? You know, it was a Friday. Are they waiting until Monday? They trying to work out the details. I kind of like the Jermaine Pratt thing, the way it went. Come in the building, walk out on the field, do your little workout, sign the paper, you're good to go, right? That's what I want to see happen. But Joe Woods, man, is a great defensive back coach, a damn good, passing game coordinator. I believe if you've been a defensive coordinator, you should be pretty good at being a passing game coordinator. I think this man's going to fill this job very, very well. And it's going to make this secondary and this defense a lot different than what we've seen the last 3 years. Now, I heard talk over and over again. People say and want to argue till they're blue in the face. It's still Patrick Graham's defense. Yes, I'm not arguing that. But there's still a head coach above him. And whether it's your defense or your offense, when a head coach says do this, you better do that shit. I'm just saying. You're just like players, right? You get paid for a job, but it's still his team. So another guy, man, that not only has experience nonstop with defensive backs, but he has experience coaching with Marcus Robertson, right? These guys have coached defensive backs together. Now he's the defensive the pass game coordinator / defensive back coach. So I think this is huge for this defense. Special teams, we already know Tom McMahon, 19 years experience. Darius Swinton, the second special teams assistant, I know nothing about, so we'll break this dude down real quick. Enter his 3rd season with the Las Vegas Raiders. Wow, really? Wait, and I didn't know this dude. Was on the staff last year? All right, I feel dumb. All right, entering his 3rd season with the Las Vegas Raiders and his 15th season in the NFL coaching ranks. He joined the Silver and Black after serving as special teams coordinator with the Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, we have a Charger in the building, folks. So basically, we have a guy that's coached or been around every single team that we play against. I like that. I like that. In 2021, which is kind of recently, so he knows a lot of players still in the building there, like Herbert and those cats. He was also an assistant special team coach with the Arizona Cardinals after spending 1 season as the offense assistant with the Detroit Lions in 2018. He served as assistant special teams coach with the Chicago Bears for 2 seasons, 15 to 17, before entering 2 seasons with Chicago. Another Chicago Bear. Damn. He earned his opportunity as special team coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers, 2016. Began his NFL coaching career with the St. Louis Rams. Okay. Was he on that greatest show on turf team? Because they had a bomb ass defense defense back there. Their corners were sticky, sticky, sticky. Not the sticky ooh wee, but the sticky, sticky. Um, and I forgot where I left off. Oh, the Rams, where he served as a special team quality control for 2009 to 11. So maybe not. Before coaching in the same role with the Chiefs in 2012. So another guy with the Chiefs. After his alone season with the Chiefs in 2012, he spent 2 seasons with the Denver Broncos. Fucking, this dude's been in everywhere in the division. I like it. I like it. 2013 to 14 as an assistant special teams coach, began his coaching career as a defense graduate assistant at the University of Tennessee. So, man, that wraps up our shit. That took way longer than I thought. I don't even know if anybody's still here. D Menace, what's good? He's alive. Wow. Raider Talk Nation, Real Talk, what's good? What's good? So, yeah, man, those are our coaches in the building. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Do you feel any better about any of these guys? About the defense? About the schemes we're going to run? You know, the defense we're going to run does not leave a lot of room for error. Big Money, Sunny, Clean Stream. Appreciate you, my guy. What's good? Who else is in the building? I don't know. This shit don't work the same like this. Oh, there we go. Anthony Estrada, yo, what's good, man? Appreciate you popping in, saying what's up. Appreciate you, appreciate you. Big facts about the defense, Raiders, Rebel. Yeah, man, I think this shit's gonna, this defense is gonna be scarier than we think. And I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna keep saying it since it happened 2 nights ago, right? There was a couple of people in the chat saying that our offense was going to be better than our defense, and man, I hope that's the case, right? We don't want. I mean, I don't want it to be a big difference, right? I don't want our defense to constantly, be on the field because they can't get off the field type shit. And I don't think it's going to be like that at all, right? This defense is going to be scary. However, if our offense is anywhere close to our defense, teams are going to be in trouble, man. They're going to be in trouble. We have too many weapons. If we're throwing downfield, if we're running the ball, you know, if we're just feeding Brock Bowers, which we've already showed last year, we can win games by just feeding Brock Bowers, right? You can throw to Brock Bowers 10 times a game and the dude gets, 120 yards. So you don't have to feed him a lot. He's going to get his yards, he's going to get his chunks. He's going to make people miss. What he needs to do more of, and what the Raiders need to do more of, is make sure he gets more touchdowns. I think he deserves it. He's worked for it. You know, last year, I thought they overworked the kid, constantly running out routes, running comeback, running hook routes, stupid shit that gets a guy killed, right? When you got, when you're playing cover three and you're running a hook route as a linebacker, you got two guys coming at you pretty much every time, right? You got the linebacker and you got the safety coming at you, or the nickel, big nickel, whatever you want to call it. So you're getting leveled. He knew he was getting leveled, and the man didn't miss a beat. He caught almost everything thrown to him. He's going to be a bigger problem with guys like, Dante Thornton, that nobody expected except for some people to come out and be productive as he is right off the bat, right? You're just, you can't be that athletic. I mean, there has been guys, but you can't be that athletic that fast if you have a decent work ethic and not flash, right? It's hard not to be seen when you're 6'5", when you run a 4.3 40. it's hard to be missed. And if you're not making mistakes and you're not dropping balls, you're gonna get noticed out there. You're gonna get noticed. Big money, Sonny, my guy. Appreciate you, bro. Damn. Shout out. Salute, but we got JD5. You must be a Washington fan. Yeah, I think Chicago will be kicking themselves in the ass for the next 10 years, bro. Caleb Williams could become that guy, but nowhere near JD5, bro. Nowhere near. But man, shout out for the 1999 holla, bro. Means the world to me. Rebel Pratt locked up our linebacker room. So what position should we upgrade next? I think we bring in Shaquille Griffin. Shaquille Griffin was supposed to be in the building yesterday. I get what's today? It's Saturday now. So dude was supposed to be in the building Thursday. His flight got delayed from some weather issues. I guess I don't know what the issues were, but his flight was delayed. He didn't make it yesterday. He was in the building today. So we'll see, right? We'll see. I don't think they're bringing in a guy to look at if they don't already, have pretty high regards, right? He knows Pete Carroll knows who he is. He's had him on his team. He knows what he can do. So the interview, should be a lock, right? It should be pretty easy money. I'm thinking if they brought this cat in, damn, where the hell did my shit go? Bringing this dude in, there's a reason, right? There's a big reason. This late in camp, getting ready for preseason, taking a couple weeks off. It's a good time, right? It's a good time to bring a guy in, to get him in the building, to get him working out. You can't run plays, you miss camp or whatever, but he's had his workout, he's had his seasons, and I don't think you can go wrong with adding more corners. It's kind of been mixed up from where we're at right now, right? A lot of people thought it was going to be Ja'Cory Bennett. Um, Let me hide that. That's annoying. All right, that's better. A lot of people thought it was going to be, JB, Ja'Cory Bennett. And if you watched the interviews yesterday, we found out that Ja'Cory Bennett was playing with a torn labrum. If you've ever had your shoulder popped out of socket, it takes some man shit to pop it back into socket. I'm telling you right now. It's not for the weak at heart, bro. It is not. It's not something you want to do more than once. But this man did. Ja'Cory Bennett came out and he said there was plays in it, a bunch of times in the season where he'd go to make a tackle. And I apologize because I ate up Ja'Cory Bennett, just like I did Divine Diablo. I'm a Raider fan, bro. If you're constantly whiffing on tackles and missing tackles, I'm gonna call you out. That's my job as a content creator to show, look, why are these guys still in there if they're constantly making mistakes? Now, Ja'Cory wasn't as bad, but there was some, when it came to run defense, coming up and stopping the run, it looked like he was reluctant. And now I know the reason, right? When your shoulder's popping out every time you're hitting somebody and you got to go to the sideline and get it popped in, you're gonna have second thoughts. But the fact that he was out there, I give him credit for the heart. But the fact that you're out there and you can't make the play, you're not, you know, to me, I get it, the heart, but it's being selfish, right? If you can't make the play, don't hurt the team by not being out there because you're not healthy. And I know, like I said, these guys are warriors. They're not going to come out if they can be in. And he said it in his interview, right? There's pain and then there's injury. There's a difference. It was an injury, but it was something that didn't, that he was dealing with. But if it's something that's mentally, that's stopping you from making tackles physically, you got to know when to say when, in my opinion. So the fact that he got his shit fixed could be a big difference for Ja'Cory Bennett, right? He was one of the top corners when it come to locking guys down last year. Now, when it come to tackling in the run, like I said, it kind of hurt his stats. But QBR against, I believe, last year was a 49.6. I think that was the lowest in the NFL. If not, it was top three before the injury. So Jacorian Bennett was on fire last year. Now this year, they got him playing on the second team defense. Now, is that a psychological thing? Is that Pete Carroll and Marcus Robertson trying to let this guy, all right, let's make sure you're completely healthy? Are they trying to trick the rest of the NFL, right? Thinking, hey, these guys have such a problem at the corner position, like everybody keeps talking about, that they're going to put in this youngster, Darian Porter, right off the rip, and they're going to move Jacorian Bennett to the second string. That might be the case. That might not be the case, right? Eric Stokes is taking that other spot on the left side. So there's a lot of questions, right? We don't know who's going to play the slot. Could he play there? But I feel if Jacorian Bennett plays like he was last year and is healthy and can make tackles, I don't see this man giving up the job easy. So I see it being a lot more competition than we think. And like I said, there could be reasons. Pete Carroll said he's going to throw these rookies and give them, everything they can handle. Maybe that's it too. Maybe he knows what Jacorian Bennett can handle. He's like, all right, I've seen this kid. I know what he's got. He's got that dog in him. But let's give some of these younger cats some of these reps with the ones and just see what they have, early. That could be another thing. So I like the way it's been going, man. It's been a sneaky ass defense, a sneaky off season. All right, this thing either goes one way or the other. It's pissing me off. I don't know where I left off. Um, so they could be playing this shit one way or other, man. They could be, baiting teams into thinking, all right, they have a problem at corner, right? They have I know nobody in the NFL right now is looking at the Raiders going, let's take advantage of their linebacker room. I promise you that. I promise you that. They're coverage wise or not. And I said it last night. We still got another guy that has trouble, covering, right? He also missed 19 tackles. But again, he was the best player on the Bengals defense last year, in my opinion, or second best, right? One guy didn't play a lot, holding out right now. So when you're the top guy on your defense and you have 107 tackles, yeah, man, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have, miss shit. But I don't think their coaches over there are near the experience as Patrick Graham, as Pete Carroll. And our linebacker room really got scary. Now, if it's true, and they do try to run a 4-3, can you imagine what our 4-3 would look like? You're talking maybe or maybe not Christian Wilkins, right? Adam Butler. Then you got Max and Kuntz. And then you got three linebackers. You got Erop in the middle. You got Amari Gaynor playing maybe that kind of Leo spot. Maybe moving around. I mean, there's a lot of shit they can do. But I don't think they're going with a Devin White, an Erob, and Jermaine Pratt, right, out there at defense. I think it's going to be two linebackers, and that other guy, if they do go 4-3, is going to be more like Jeremy Chin. I think that's going to be, that kind of sky defensive position, in my opinion. Graham, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you dropping in. Shamalster from Cincinnati. There's a unique deadline in place for any team that wants to trade a rookie. A deal has to be made at least 30 days before the start of the regular season. Would you try to get him? Man, that's a damn good question. I mean, oh, I know Pratt's locked for now. For now, will it be the whole season? We'll get into that. Um, I mean, Stewart. I don't know what the deal is over there, right? I don't know if it's the organization. I don't know if it's the player. I don't know what the problem is. I haven't, I seen a little bit about it. I heard him talk on a little short or whatever I was watching. So I don't know the situation over there. But the player, I mean, damn, you can't you can't pass on the player, right? Especially a rookie. But then what are you having to trade for this guy, right? He's a first round pick. What are they gonna want for a first round pick? More than we're willing to trade, right? I mean, you could maybe possibly say, hey, we'll give you Tyree Wilson and one of these young linebackers like Tommy Eichenberg, and I don't know what else. I don't know what else. They don't need a quarterback, so yeah, we don't have really one we could give. I mean, I don't know what else you can give them, but a couple second rounds. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah, definitely would love him to have him on the team. If it's a possibility that he could come, that we could get him, I'm down. I mean, I would have drafted him. I would have drafted him definitely. Not in the first round though. I like our first round pick, and I had a bunch of guys higher than him. But I just don't feel like defensive end you know, is our biggest need or even a need, really. We have Crosby, he's coming off the injury. If he stays healthy, nobody's getting in on that side, right? You might have what, 20 snaps if you're lucky a year playing behind Max Crosby. So that side's on lock, right? You got that shit wrapped up. Then Malcolm Kuntz, if he's healthy, I don't see him coming out too much. Maybe in the beginning because he's got to get, still get back into football shape. Uh, there's a difference between having no pads around in mandatory minis and mini camps than having to be out there, in a game, right? Game time, game speed, totally different animal. So he's got to get back into that. Maybe, they switch him out, but you got behind him. You have guys like Jafari Harvey, which I really, really like. I think Jafari Harvey reminds me kind of Tyree with just a little bit faster, a little bit better get off, a lot more moves, better technique, but a guy that's got that strong, you know, powerful first step that, that just surprises the shit out of people. So I like Jafari Harvey. You also have Ja Joyner. You also have, Charles Snowden. And then you have Tyree. Yes, small sturt's better than all, probably three of those guys. He's not better than Max. And I would question Malcolm Kuntz, right? I'm a huge Malcolm Kuntz fan. I thought last year was going to be his breakout year, but it wasn't. Um, shit, I don't know, Graham. If you got, but somebody probably did. Oh, I think somebody did the other night, and I can't tell you who it was to thank them. So, I'm behind. Let me see. Creators looking for an edge over the no. Yep. Yep. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the Unleashed Nation family, man. Appreciate it. Y'all dropping in. Rebel, is there someone on the roster you wish was there from the past year to still be there for our current years and beyond? Um, from just this year, from just last year, or from past years in general? 4 years, 19 million, so it'd be a good investment. God and family. I mean, I hear you. From anyone past year that's still playing right now. Oh man, I mean, if we're talking past in general, there's yeah, there's a million. There's I'd take Tim Brown back any day of the week. I would love to have another Namdi Asamoah. Uh, I would love to have another Marcus Allen, another Bo Jackson. I mean, another Lincoln Kennedy. Damn, we could use another Lincoln Kennedy. Another Charles Woodson. Yeah, yeah, anybody. But if you're talking about guys that are still playing today, I I'm pissed off anytime we lose Raiders that are Raiders. I was mad when we lost to Meek. I was mad. RJ was good. Your mom eats corn the long way. Um, and she swallows too. So I was pissed off when we lost to Meek Robinson. I was mad when we lost. I'm still mad. I'm not gonna say I was mad. I'm still mad that we lost Nate Hobbs. I think Nate Hobbs was a guy that for the money he got, you don't let that guy go. Now, yes, he had some injury problems, right? He was in and out of the lineup. He struggled, staying healthy, playing 17 games. But when he was out there, Nate Hobbs was a fucking dog, bro. So that one hurt. I try not to get too attached to fans because you've been a Raider fan for 50 years like I have. You know how it is. You know how it goes, right? Players come, players go. They don't stay for long. But one thing that never goes is the shield, right? That shit lasts forever. So I try not to get caught up in too much into the players because I know when they leave, I'm just going to be bitter and pissed off about it. But yeah, Nate Hobbs hurt. Robert Spillane, I think, the money was too much for that guy. But I think when we got a Devin White, when you get a E-Rop, a Landon Roberts, and you get a guy like Jermaine Pratt, still for less money, still for less money than you would have paid for a guy like Robert Spillane, I think I could live with that one. But yeah, I hated Robert Spillane leaving. All these guys, man, I hate when anybody leaves. So Amik Robinson, I was pissed when Amik left. I'm a Seattle fan, but I will say as um, the Raiders have gave my boys some pretty good games with the defense. I don't know how long you've been a Seattle fan, but yeah, yeah, I remember being at the game when Bo Jackson tried to run over Brian Bosworth and the sound. The sound. No, not the sound of silence, bro. It was sounds of silence afterwards for a little bit. Yeah. When they were in our division, man, it was nasty. I liked those old rivalry games, right? Guys like Steve Largent, Brian Bosworth, uh, who was their quarterback then? I like those old rivalry games. I wish they would have never left our division. They could have kicked Kansas City out of the division. Like Kansas City's way farther than us, right? Denver. Get rid of those clowns. I think Seattle was a damn good rivalry. I like those games. Definitely showing my age. Seattle and Raiders rivalry games in the same division. Yeah, I think Wilkins is going to be fine in a few weeks, though. That's what they said, man. That's what they're saying. Or I guess nobody's saying really, but they're kind of alluding to that he might be okay and ready to go. But like I said, man, you know how I do here. I don't try to get anybody's hopes up, and I want people to know the facts. And the facts are that if he's not ready, they don't have to put him on IR, right? He can, go week 2, week 1, 2, and be ready for then. But still having a boot on, he's not going to be in football shape. So it's gonna be no matter what, in my opinion. I just don't see him getting in the games until the bye week, maybe right before the bye week. But why play a game before the bye week? It is Kansas City Chiefs, and I hope he doesn't miss 8 weeks, man. 8 weeks would be a lot. Maybe in 3 weeks, you could get in the game shape where they put him in if he is ready to go. But I just hope he's ready to go. I don't see it though. And again, I don't know the injury. I'm not the doctor. The boot thing off and on could be bullshit, right? But it's been a long time. He was hurt. I mean, it's almost going on a year, right? You're just a couple months away from a year, like 2 months, 3 months away from a year. That's that's a long time for a big man to be injured and then to re-injure it. How long did it take him from the injury to the point where he was re-injured for that healing process? That's what I want to know. Because if you look at that, I guarantee you the second healing process is going to be worse than the first. Because if it wasn't healed the first time, hurting the re-injuring it is always worse. So, not being a doctor and said not trying to get nobody's hopes down, but there is a big concern there for me. Um, they didn't want to cover his medical if he gets hurt. Only team in the NFL to do that. That's why he left camp. I mean, if that's the case, then he's probably running. If he's running around and jogging and shit, you're going to be in decent shape, but you're still not going to be in football shape, man. You don't get into, even in mini camps, they're still not in football shape. When the pads come on, preseason, they're still not in football shape. Some of these guys going into, week 1 or 2, it's, they're still not in shape, and they were there all of camp. So for some people, it takes a while to get into football shape. That shit, it takes it's a like I said, it's a different kind of animal out there. All right, I read that already. I'll start starring these so I know where the hell I'm at. Yeah, 19 mil. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot. But it isn't one season, right? So it's over what, 4 years? I mean, I could take that. It was a heartbreaker. Kuntz getting injured like that before the season began. Crosby was bummed. It was devastating, man. It was this devastating blow. I had this team winning a lot of games. I had this defensive front, being one of the best we've had in history. We had a chance and potential to do that. We still have a chance to do that, but we need Christian Wilkins back. With Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, and Malcolm Kuntz, they have the potential to be the greatest defensive line the Raiders have ever seen. I mean, honestly, and if Kuntz reaches his potential, like I feel he's gonna do, up there with up there with Max Crosby, this defense with Adam Butler and Jonah Lalu and these guys we brought in, Tonka Hemingway and these cats, man, it's gonna be a different type of animal, bro. I'm telling you. Um, Alex M. Then you have Wilkins out too. Can't wait to see the D line healthy. I mean, the D line's healthy except for Wilkins, so that's huge, right? Last year, it was not the same. We had injuries on the offensive side. We had injuries on the defensive side. We had injuries everywhere. Yeah, I think Wilkins is going to be fine in a few weeks. Man, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Meek shut down Jefferson. He was cooking with the Lions, right? He did too. He did. And I miss Amik Robinson, man. He was that little spark plug on the defense that when he left, our defense got soft. I think our defense relied on him a lot more than we thought. I know Patrick Graham did. I know Patrick Graham didn't want to lose him. But Amico, like I said, he was that spark plug, right? If he missed a play, he came back 10 times harder and made a big play. And those big plays usually put us in great, great positions. So I missed the shit out of that kid, man. Raiders for Pratt, Robertson, and White for less than Spillane is getting, yeah. Did I say that? I don't know. Raiders defense has been very good at times. Injuries are unpredictable, man. But it's worse when they're non-contact injuries, right? Like Malcolm Kuntz, right? End of the day, practice is almost done. Making a cut. Killer, what's good, my guy? I missed you. Um, making a cut and then snap. Not a snap you want to hear. It'll be all the sweeter when they dominate the division again. Fuck the Chiefs, the Queefs, the Donkeys, and the Lightning Bugs. Yes. Yo, my guy, what it do? What it do? Appreciate you being in the building. They're not covering his medical comment from pertaining to Stewart. What do you mean they're not covering his medical? What? That's a shit team, bro. What do you mean? It's the NFL. Like they gotta help cover your health, bro. You have health benefits. Nothing really replaces the main training camp, right? You gotta get pads on. Me came in a clutch ball hawk for sure, right? Fatu, JJ Tonka, very big dudes for the D position. Yeah, man, I miss Amik's heart, bro. Amik's heart was everything for this team, man. It was everything. Damn, change the style and format of the live. I can barely see and pay attention to the chat log. What? Can you see it now? Kush Mob in the building. What's good? What's good? What it do? I'm about to hit me those blinks. Ooh, that was rough. Sorry, man. I had to mix it up, bro. I had to mix it up. I tried the up and down view. You know, tired of getting side to side. Had to get up and down. It's been a minute since I tried to get on the short views. I thought maybe I get more views, but it's about the same as always. YouTube just don't push my shit. Bullshit. Cincinnati was the only team in the NFL to not cover Stewart's media. That's why he left camp. Yeah, that's some bullshit, bro. No, it's still the same. Salute, Rebel. What's good, my guy, man? How's it been? How's it been? Been a minute. But yeah, for Shamar Stewart, bro, that's shitty. You're an NFL team. What do you mean you're not going to cover his medical being out there in camp? I mean, it's camp, right? Mandatory mini camp. You should. Isn't there a law? Don't they have to? I don't understand, bro. I don't understand. That's weird. So yeah, man, how y'all feeling about this defense, the defensive coaches? Like I said, it's as long as I've been following this team fanatically, I'm just trying to find the right word. You know, the times that were even good that I've been alive. Now, again, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, okay, I remember every single second from when I was, 7, 8 years old and they won the Super Bowl, because I'd be lying if I did. But I do remember the ones that we lost. I do remember that taste. I do remember the games before the Super Bowl we lost, right, to the Ravens. You know, those will things that you'll never forget, will never let down. But man, I really, really feel like those days are behind us, right? The days of 4-13, the days of getting blown out by teams like Detroit, right? 3-34, getting fucking just dog walked, drugged through the mud constantly, game in and game out, offense wise, defensive wise, getting out coached, getting out schemed, getting out played, getting out hustled, right? I think all that shit's behind us. I think it's all in the past. Spencer Cook, what good? Jack Beck not signing worries me because he's going on. What's going on with the Bengals? I don't know what the Jack Beck deal is, man. I don't know what the Jack Beck thing is. Do you know he's a second round pick? I don't know how he could be asking for more money than they're wanting to give him, right? It's not like he has a fifth year option. You got 4 years, bro. You play your 4 years, you sign him, right? So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get too much money. I don't know what it is. Maybe the Raiders are reluctant to pay him a lot of money because they didn't think Dante Thornton, drafted in the fourth round, was going to come out and be outperforming Jack Beck from the jump, right? I mean, he's just as big. He's not as physical, but he's way faster. He can run damn good routes. He can catch. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But it worries me too. Jack Beck is a guy that we need on this team. We can't have second round draft picks not in camp, right? Holding out. But the fact that he's out there every day tells me that they're working on it and there's not a problem, right? If he wasn't out there, and we got 6 more weeks, right? We got 6 more weeks before the pads come on, before the clickety clack starts. Um, if it's past that, I'm really gonna worry, right? I'm really gonna worry. Cincinnati may be covering Stewart medical expenses because he is currently unsigned, and the team is reportedly trying to change the terms of the standard rookie contract. Okay, okay. Well, then if that's the case, I don't see him trying to trade that kid. I mean, if somebody comes in and says, you know, we'll give you a first round pick next year, maybe. But at this point, I think they're just trying to push him to cover the contract or push him to sign the contract, right? They're like, fuck it. Well, we don't want to cover your medical expenses. You won't be allowed to get on the field because they know he's not going to get out there and play in mandatory mini camps. He's not going to get out there if they're not covering his medical costs. Because if he gets hurt, that's all on him as an unsigned player. I don't know if that NIL money was enough last year, but I'm sure he made a pretty good chunk in NIL to be able to cover his doctor bills if something was to happen, right? But doctor bills could be very, very pricey. So the fact that they're not, paying him just tells me that they're trying to force this man to sign a contract is what I'm getting at it. So agents have a problem with the Browns and Texas guaranteed full contracts for the first 2 years, first two picks and second round. Him not being at mandatory mini camp is already a bad look, especially with Dante Thornton looking good. Oh, Jack Beck wasn't out there at mandatory? I thought he was out there. I could have swore he was out there. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, I didn't realize he was out there since he was under contract. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was out there. I'm pretty sure he was out there the last 3 days. So, like I said, like they're probably working on it. I don't think it'd be a big problem, or if it was, he'd be holding out. But we've heard how he's talked about this organization, how he wants to be here. They're excited to have the kid, and sometimes contracts just take longer than others. Maybe he knows his worth, or maybe his agent thinks his worth is more than than the Raiders do. That could be a very big possibility, right? Very big possibility. But I don't see, to me, I don't see a guy like Beck being a problem. And Shamar Stewart thing, I don't think that's going to be a problem either. But it could be, bro. It could be. Like, he sounds like he's very pissed off that he wants to be out there. And you need to be out there. You need to be out there with your guys, building that camaraderie. I said it last year, right? For Colton Miller, for JPJ. And shout out to our offensive line for all being healthy, all being in camp, all out there working their asses off, putting in work. We don't know who's starting. I mean, we got the top three, right? Colton Miller, JPJ, and DJ Glaze. Who's going to be the guys in the middle, man? That's a huge question. From what I've seen today, and no, they weren't out there today, but from what I've seen today, from yesterday's film, okay, what I seen yesterday from Thursday's film. I keep forgetting it's Saturday morning. Shout out. Good morning, everybody. Um, what I seen was you wanna know what I seen? I seen Thayer Mumford pulling from the left side, looking like a running back out there. Maybe there was a reason Luke Getsy lined him up as a wide receiver last year. Maybe he's a little faster than we think. Now, he might not be that fast, but he probably has pretty good hands if they used him out there as a decoy. I don't know if they were ever going to throw him the ball. But man, we do remember, right? Thayer Munford was lined up as a receiver. The man is freakishly athletic for his size. He has pretty decent speed. And playing the guard spot, I said this all last year when we were struggling to find guards, right? After DJ Glaze pretty much just took the right tackle position. I said over and over again, put Thayer Munford next to him. Now, he was hurt for a little while, but when he came back, we were still struggling to find the right mix of players. And I think if they would have just did it last year, this offensive line could be farther along than this year, switching guys around, right? We thought it was going to be Jordan Meredith. At least I thought it was going to be Jordan Meredith on the left side or the right side. I figured it'd be the right side. He played very well over there, but he played very well on the left side when JPJ went to center. So, when you got guys like that play solid at both sides, I figured it was going to be Munford. Meredith. However, from what I seen on the film that I watched yesterday from practice, it looked like it was a whole lot more Thayer Munford than it was Jordan Meredith playing the left side. Now, maybe that's because Wednesday and Tuesday they were swapping 50-50, and maybe he's getting the best of it. Now, I don't know if Thayer Munford is going to play starting the season at the guard position. It may be a little bit too early, but he has played it in college, so he does know, and he did play both sides, left and right. He did play the left tackle position last year, where I thought he did very, very well. And could you just imagine a beast like that, a monster like Thayer Munford with his athleticism? And go watch the film, man. This guy pulling looks very, very nice. This O line could be a little bit bigger, stronger, and faster than we even thought going into camp, and helping this run game, right? Because when you got guys 320 pounds that are athletic, that can pull, that can get to the next level quick, get their hands on linebackers, disrupt plays in the run game, it's going to change a lot of shit. So, man, I'm excited for this team. I'm excited for the offense. I'm excited for the new look defense. And I guess tomorrow if I go live tomorrow, because I think we're having a Father's Day shit tomorrow. I don't know. Um, I never know what's going on in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Got the best, genty, and biggest Pagese running back in the draft. Let's talk about JJ Pagese, man. Where do you think they're going to use JJ Pagese? You think they're going to line this man, up at fullback mainly? Do you think he's going to make the roster to play, to play on the defensive line? Because there's a lot of solid guys on this defensive line that have experience. Do they keep him on the roster, you know, somewhere just to put him on special teams and to use him at fullback? I don't know. I don't know. He's gonna have to definitely um he's definitely gonna have to, do some work on the defensive line because the guys that are in front of him, it's deep, right? He's from what I've seen right now, like fifth, fifth. I guess Wilkins ain't out there, so he's kind of fourth or fifth. But when Wilkins comes back, that drops him down even farther. But I think he's a guy they definitely keep around at fullback. You also have a Landon Roberts. A lot of people don't know, but a Landon Roberts, E-Rob, played a lot of fullback. Not a lot, but he played fullback. He's played fullback in the NFL. This is a guy that can catch. I've seen him make, crazy one-handed catches. So don't sleep on the Landon Roberts. He might not have the speed to cover, but if he gets his hands on balls, he's catching them, right? They're not going to be dropped. So a Landon Roberts, you can put at fullback. I've been saying over and over and over again, and people keep laughing at me with the Zamir White at fullback. I believe this man could play fullback. And we've heard both coaches, Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll, both mentioned Zamir White. Said he's strong, he's powerful, he looks better than last year. He's out there with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to make the roster. He still wants to be a Raider. He was drafted a Raider. I like seeing those guys stay in the building, you know, be competitive, develop, and learn. And I think we could be using some fullback, carry situations. Will it be Pagese? Will it be a Landon Roberts? Will it be, Zamir? Um, but I think Zamir White to me just reminds me more of that Marcel Reese, um, you know, type fullback, right? A guy that's, Zach Crockett, even, right? Zach Crockett was a running back that they put mostly at fullback, right? They use both of those guys like a thunder and thunder. Fucking- but Zach Crockett was a guy that had speed, had muscle, was a thick ass dude that could run, catch out of the backfield, put guys on their back. He could block linebackers, right? He could hold up defensive ends. Samir White is damn good at blocking. People underestimate his run blocking. He wasn't asked to do it a lot last year because he was hurt. He wasn't out there. But go watch the year before and the year before that. There was some times where he was in there instead of Josh Jacobs on third downs, run blocking. There's a reason for that in pass pro. Um, so the man could block. The man could block. I think fullback would be a nice little spot for him. And uh he needs LASIK. Dude's blind as hell. See, that's a good spot for a fullback, right? Nobody covers a fullback. That's the thing in the NFL. That's why I keep saying fullback. Y'all people acting like I'm just clowning. I'm serious. At a fullback, go look at old Raiders tape, you know, of Marcel Reese, of Zach Crockett, of how they use these guys, even Tyrone Wheatley back in the day, you know, at the fullback position, two running backs back there. It could still be done, right? And when you got a guy like with Ashton Genty, could you imagine having Zamir White and everybody thinking Ashton Genty's getting the ball, and then it's not? It's Zamir White going the opposite way with his speed, with everybody going the other way, bro. We're talking untouched tutties all day. So, and another thing, a guy that could catch out of the backfield, right? The fullback. They're gonna think he's back in there for for pass pro, and a lot of people are not gonna expect him to, you know, block and to leak out or to not block at all and just totally whiff on the guy and leak out. That's a wide open fullback with his speed and his size. That's scary, bro. That's scary. And then you know, like you keep saying, you have JJ Pegues, which I really want to see this dude on the offense. I think when it comes to 30-5, 30-4, 30-3, 32, 31, you're not stopping this man. It's unstoppable. You can put him with no offensive line and he's going to pick up 3 yards, bro. You don't even need an offensive line. Have you seen the man touch the ball? Go back and go watch film. Just look up JJ Pegues highlight reel. I don't know how much will be at fullback, but I think there's a lot. I think a lot of his highlights probably are at fullback. So a guy that's an offensive lineman himself, pretty much playing fullback. You know, I don't know how many people remember the William Refrigerator Perry days. The Chicago Bears doing the Super Bowl shuffle, their little video, but they won because a lot of games because of the fridge, right? When they got into goal line, 2nd and 5, 1st and 5, 1st and 4, 3rd and 2, whatever, inside the 5 yard line. It was handoff to William the Refrigerator Perry, and you couldn't tackle him. It was I don't think he was ever tackled in the backfield. Somebody find me a stat, but I don't believe he was ever tackled for a loss. He was just an enormous Lakitasi kind of freak. And I bring up Lakitasi because I've heard his name be thrown around at the fullback position, bro. If you put this monster mammoth dude in at the fullback position, nobody on your team is tackling Lakitasi, bro. Nobody. Like this man is good lord. He's huge, dude. Absolutely huge. So we have a lot of options. We have a new defense. I'll show you some schemes tomorrow. I'll break that shit down. I'll be on for a little bit. Might be late like this. Might be early in the day. Who knows? That's why you gotta hit the notification button. Tick on the noti to turn it on. Um, we have heard that UDFA fullback tight end Conroy has looked good so far. Also, that's another thing. Conroy. Also Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah. The fuck is his name? Not Isaiah. Ian Johnson, the other tight end, has also looked very good out there. But Conroy has, you know, one of the best combine athleticism scores maybe ever. He's tops, right? 99%. He's up there with some elite cats. So we have some athletic freaks, bro. We have speed. We have dogs. We have killers. We have all that shit on this team, man. For us to not be over 500 again would be the first time I'm extremely disappointed in this team. Now, I don't think I've ever said that because usually I know if they're good, right? I pretty much know they're going to be decent or good, and I don't get too excited. But man, this year with the coaching staff, with the defensive guys we just read through, with the offensive coordinators and the offensive coaching staff we read through yesterday, with the guys we've brought in from Geno Smith to the rookies like Dante Thornton, like Jack Beck, like Darius Porter, like Caleb Rogers, like another guy that I'm going to stop right here and mention, Charles Grant, bro. If you didn't watch me jump up and down like a savage freak when they picked Charles Grant in the 3rd round, which most people were like, oh, come on, man, in the 3rd round, I was extremely excited. And there's one reason for that. This man's upside is absolutely through the damn clouds, bro. And if you go watch film today or Vegas Sports Today from Thursday's workouts. Man, Big Dog has some athleticism, right? They were running, like I said, the pull drills. Sorry, they were running, a zone, leaky zone, like I call it. A guy leaks out. That's why I call it leaky zone. But the tackle, right? The tackle position, and he was playing left tackle. Right, you're lined up. You don't have your hand in the ground. You're not in a 3 point stance, right? So you're just standing up, but you got to hit, the defensive tackle, and then you got to come out and you got to get the edge guy also. Colton Miller looks pretty damn good, but the man behind him was looking like a dog, and I don't know who it was. I think it was Charles Grant. I think he's number 60. I might have to look it up. I do believe, but whoever it was, man, damn good footwork, damn good speed, and we have some sleepers on this offensive line that I think a lot of people don't know how good this offensive line can truly be with a 1 year with a new head coach, right? But we have Philbon in the building who's been here since last year. He worked with the offensive line most of the, towards the end of the year last year. So he knows these guys that are in the building. He knows, their strengths, their weaknesses, I'm sure already. And I look for this offensive line to be way better than I thought. Way better. Way better. Like, I don't know what we were last year. I think in the top 20, somewhere in there. Um, After December on, I think we were top 13 in the NFL. I could really see us being, a top 15 to a top 10 offensive line and just getting better. That's just, right off the bat, right off the rip, the first couple weeks. And I could see us getting better as we go. The only difference is going to be, right, that I'm seeing is going to be the right guard spot. Is it going to be Alex Kappa, you know, or is it going to be the rookie, the young guy, Caleb Rogers, or somehow, does Meredith get beat out by Thayer Munford and they move Meredith back to the right side and put him over there before camp ends? That would be a lineup I would love to see. Um, that would be my starting lineup if I had to pick. But let me get into these chats and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I don't want to bother y'all on your Saturday's morning, but I appreciate everybody that dropped in on quick notice. Y'all are definitely diehards. I gotta find a way to take care of y'all somehow. Um, I'd rather have Pagisa at fullback just due to the pure size. Yeah, but that's just for short yardage, though, at fullback. You can't have a fullback Pagisa size. I mean, he did play tight end, so he probably does have hands. I mean, if the dude has hands that could catch out of the backfield, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare for opposing teams. Um, but the speed wise, right? Speed wise, now if you're just trying to get short yardage, yeah, he's definitely the fullback. But if you're trying to have a fullback that's implemented in the system that you want, big plays over, which 10 yards or more, you're trying to use a guy with Zamir White speed. Now, I'm not saying his vision is the best, but I'm not saying it was bad either. We do remember 2 years ago in a system ran by Bo flipping Hardigree with no offensive coordinating experience. The only experience he had in the NFL was a quarterback coach. The rest was all college experience. So Bo Hardigree come in, he schemed some shit up. Zamir ran his ass off behind a beat up O line, right? The year Antonio Pierce took over as intern, the next year they decided not to go with Bo. So this offensive line is a little bit better than people think. I think Zamir is a little bit better than they give credit for. You know, you'll see Alexander Madison. I believe he does way better in Miami than he did with the Raiders. It was this offensive line and the coaching scheme and the running backs all mixed in one. It was a whole bunch of shit piled together, wrapped in a ball, thrown at a wall, trying to stick, right? We're going to run this scheme. I know you like to run power as a back, but we're going to run wide zone and we're going to have guys pulling that can't pull. And we're going to have our unathletic tackles running to the sidelines trying to get guys open and get to the next level. It was shit from the jump, right? We all knew it was going to be rough. At least I did. I was like, this doesn't fit. Zamir doesn't fit. Madison didn't fit. The only one that I thought fit Chip. The only one I thought Luke Getsey's system fit was Amir Abdullah, right? Because he's kind of that guy that you can use, all around, that kind of Swiss Army knife running back. But they never gave the guy the ball till the end of the season. So another bullshit. I like having another offensive lineman out there at that point. Oh yeah, he's definitely like shit, two offensive line. But yeah, he's definitely, gives you that weapon. And if you're running 12 personnel, which is a damn good point, Spencer. If you're running 12 personnel with Brock Bowers, and then you got, Michael Mayer out there, and then you got Pegues at fullback, and you still have 5 offensive linemen. Come on, bro. Come on. If you can't run, shit, that's what, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 guys, bro. That's 8 guys blocking for you up front at the line. I mean, you can run that jumbo package pretty much all game long with just 2 receivers and just murder teams, I think. I mean, I would. I'd try all day long. Tosti can move and has great size. Can move for his great size. Damn. Yeah, he's athletic as hell, bro. He played rugby, so you got to be fast for a big guy. They don't have really big guys like that in rugby. Most of these guys are muscle, athletic, fit guys that can move around, that are fast, and his explosiveness for his size, his explosiveness for a guy half his size is freakish. Let's just say that. So his explosiveness for his size, there's not even words, bro. There's not even words. Just wait till you get to see this man in the preseason. I don't know where they're gonna put him, and it doesn't matter if they put him on the line at guard, if they put him at fullback, if they put him at nose tackle. The man in front of him does not stand a chance. I'm telling you. I don't care how strong you are. The only way you're winning if he's on the offensive line and you're on the defensive side is with speed. And you'd have to be very damn quick to get around his big ass arms and the wingspan. So, man, there's a reason Pete Carroll keeps talking about this guy. He's going to be a huge problem for the Raiders. I mean, not for us, but a huge problem for opposing teams, and a game changer for us. A game changer. A guy, like I said, 3 different spots you can use him. If he comes into his own at offensive line, damn, bro. Defensive back coach fired up for this season as well, right? Corner is our weakest position group. I don't know, man. I don't know. I was saying that. Alex M, what's good? Appreciate you. I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks. But I also said Darian Porter Jr. was going to be a starter day one. He was the best corner out there. And if that's the case, I have a lot more faith in our corner room, because that leaves Jacorian Bennett, that leaves Decamarion Richardson, that leaves Sam Webb, that leaves Harper, who has 3 interceptions in the last 2 days. That leaves Eric Stokes. That leaves 5, 6 guys that I have a lot of faith in could switch in and out. And, you don't even have to have a number 2, right? If you just got a number 1 and you're running cover 3 and you're constantly switching guys out at the corner position, at the safety position, at the big nickel position, teams aren't going to know what's coming. You're going to have no idea. You'll be like, okay, they're putting this guy in, right? Maybe they're disguising this defense, or maybe they're disguising this defense. And you're going to have a lot of teams guessing. And when teams guess in the NFL, good things happen for the teams not guessing, right? For the teams making them guess. Um, 7 wins floor. I'd say 10 wins ceiling. I'm with you. I'm with you. I said 8 games was our floor, and that might be a lot. That might be a lot, but it's not near as much as the 12-5. Oh fuck! I forgot to put that up. Damn it! I'll get it up tomorrow. But I said there's a very big possibility that we could go 12-5. I went over the roster up and down, and I keep trying to find ways to change my mind because I said I wouldn't change my mind. That's what I was going for. Way too early prediction, and I'm gonna stand on it. Without camp, without preseason, just the feeling I got. And I've been trying to find ways to be like, okay, maybe we only win this, but I can't. I just can't, bro. I can't. And like I said, I've been wrong before. It won't be the first time. I mean, fuck. But if I'm not, Porter has been impressing for real. Yeah, the kid's a dog, bro. He's a dog. He's got that dog mentality. He's got the athleticism to back it up. He's got the athleticism and the versatility to play off guys, to press guys, to recover if he's beat. Which when you have that recovery speed, not all the time are you beat, right? Good corners know how to bait quarterbacks, right? If you're a good corner, if you're a savvy corner, a veteran, that knows the playbook, that knows what the receiver's route's going to be before they, run them, you can jump plays, right? Like Jack Jones was doing. You can be that guy to take chances. Now, hopefully you don't take as many chances as Jack did last year and give up 7 interceptions with yeah, I won't go into the quarterback rating. He's gone. So, when you got that speed, that size, and then you learn the experience on, when you can jump routes or you could, lay off and bait quarterbacks into thinking, all right, he's got this man beat. He's got 2 steps on him. And then you turn on the Jets and your recovery speed is like that. Boom, you're recovered and on the ball. That's how big plays are made, right? That's how interceptions are made, and that's how games are won. And I think Pete Carroll thrives in that, right? That's his thing. I'd say 17-0 is the ceiling. Talk that shit, Alex M. I love it. I love it. 9-win base. Defensive back coach fired up for the season as well. Hell yeah. 17-0. I mean, dude, manifest that shit. I want everybody in the chat right now to type 17-0. Like you mean it. Come on, type it like you mean it. 17-0. I'll type that shit myself. 17-0, baby. Here, I'll start. Yes. Come on, come on. Continue to train. Manifest that shit. Put it out there. I mean, right? It could happen. It could happen. Didn't the Patriots do it and lose the Super Bowl? Didn't the Dolphins do it? Right? Why can't the Raiders do it? With a coach like Pete Carroll that knows the quarterback. I mean, yes, we have some problems. We have some problems. But things could go our way, bro. Right? The ball could bounce our way for 1 year. Maybe the refs are on our side 1 year. Imagine that. Imagine 1 year we get a couple calls and games that, we probably shouldn't win. And then you have the games we do win. And then you have games where Ashton Genty just goes the fuck off and has 250 yards rushing. I mean, yeah, we can all live in a dream world, right? But if we manifest that shit, if you believe, right, it can happen. The mind is a powerful thing. We need to get the Raiders to believe. We need to get the whole damn team to believe. We get the whole damn nation to believe we're going undefeated. Who could stop us? Who could stop us? Right? All right, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. It's late. I'm sure y'all got shit to do. Um, read these last couple questions, and then I gotta get. Um, Samir White won us a game at Arrowhead a couple years ago. right? People forget, people forget real fast. This league is like Janet Jackson said, right? What have you done for me lately? Dude, right? That it's the NFL. It's what have you done for me lately league. People forget about the plays you made last week or yesterday or the year before, you know, or the sacrifice you made wearing a number 4 jersey as the quarterback for the silver and black week in and week out with a rough offensive line, with no defense. Yeah, I'll just stop there. But the sacrifices, people make for the team go unnoticed. So we forget about Zamir White rushing for over 100 yards a game, 4 games in a row. That's not a fluke, bro. That's not a fluke. That doesn't happen in the NFL. And if it does, you go find me the shittiest, sorriest running back ever in the history of the fucking NFL and show me where he ran for 4 games in a row. Because that's what everybody says Amir White is, right? He's trash. He has no vision. The dude was hurt last year. All last year. The year before, had 4 games, 100 yards, back to back to back. One against the Kansas City Chiefs, who had the best defense, rushing defense in the NFL that year. So Zamir White is highly, highly disrespected. You know, I can't preach this enough. And obviously, the nation doesn't listen. And YouTube does not push my videos out enough because, I mean, dude, the impressions are horrible. What is going on, YouTube? Yo, can you listen? Push my shit out. I guarantee you more people will watch. I promise you, if you just show it to them. But yeah, man. So Zamir White, don't sleep on Zamir White. You don't have four back-to-back 100-yard games, one against the Super Bowl defending champs, you know, against solid defenses with the offensive coordinator like Bo Hardigree, who's never called plays in his life, but he came up with plays to have Zamir White. Some people say, mostly Raider fans, the shittiest running back we've ever had, right? The shittiest pick we've ever had. I mean, people go way too far with this Zamir White shit. Give the man a break. He's not going to get 10 carries a game like he did last year. He's not going to get 25 carries a game. And he might not even make the roster this year, but if he goes to another team, he's going to get reps. Sincere McCormick looks very, very good this year. I've heard a lot of talk from a little birdie in my ear that keeps saying, damn, bro, Sincere McCormick, you shouldn't have said that. And I said it. I said it right. I said Sincere McCormick has a problem staying healthy. I don't know if he makes the roster this year. Well, I might be eating my words. It looks like Sincere McCormick is out there killing it. He's made a couple of big plays, but are they big enough plays to keep him around when you got Zamir? When you have a guy like, Dylan Labe, who is second team punt return and kick return, does he make the team? Chris Collier, it's a battle, right? It's a battle. We already know who 1 and 2 are. And I said a couple weeks ago, do we know who the number 2 guy is? I think we pretty much know who it is by now. If you don't, you're sleeping under a rock, yo. People with 8 people blocking Jenny better break off a 200-yard day. I mean, easily, bro, easily. If you have a guy like JJ Pagis in front of you or a Lackey Tossi at fullback with 2 tight ends and 5 offensive linemen, and you don't run for 200 yards, bro, we gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem. Um, Pratt to start for us now. Yeah, it's Alex Pratt's job. Oh, before I read these last couple, let me throw this out there because I was gonna say this earlier. So if the Raiders decide to run this 3-4 base defense, right? 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers. Now hear me out. Hear me out. You could almost have like a two, and it's Doesn't exist, right? I'm just making shit up. But almost like a two Leo positions with a Max Crosby and a Malcolm Kuntz. Because if you have a dominant defensive line with a guy like Lackey Tossi, however you say his name, I always mess it up. But if you get Lackey Tossi playing that true nose guard position, and then you have an Adam Butler and a Christian Wilkins, or Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler and Jonah Lalu, or Tonka Hemingway, or JJ Pegues, or Andre Carter, or Tyree Wilson. I mean, the names go on and on that you could flop that around. But if you put three down linemen and instead of running four, right, 3-4, running that like a two linebacker or maybe three linebackers. Back in the day, teams had a Mike, a Sam, and a Will, right? And then had that guy kind of like that Leo hybrid defensive end. But just say, Pete Carroll said he's been picking up new shit. He's been out for a year. Is it possible that if our corners and our safeties are good enough with Chin, with Pal Mao, with Darius Porter, Stokes, Jacorian Bennett, whoever it is out there, Sam Webb, somebody said Sam Webb. I didn't read that comment. I'll get back to it. Um, you know, is there a scenario where you put three down linemen and your 3-4 defense is two linebackers with two edge rushers with the speed of Malcolm Kuntz, right? That probably could play linebacker or could play that, that right outside linebacker. You can line them up on the line, right? Spread them out a little bit, stand them up on the line. There's a lot of different shit you can do when you have two athletic edge rushers like we have and the speed and the power that we have on this defensive line. So, man, I'm super excited for this year to start. But if you could really imagine a situation where Crosby could be kind of that Romer Leo and Kuz could be kind of that Romer Leo on both sides, right? In certain situations, certain scenarios where you're actually getting, you know, five pass rushers, and you don't even have to drop back because Kuntz, I'm sure could cover, and Max Crosby can cover a running back out of the backfield if they had to, right? So you could send more guys, and yeah, you're putting a whole lot on the rest of the six, right? The two linebackers, the two corners, and the two safeties. However, a lot of people don't know this, but in Pete Carroll's system that he ran in Seattle, a lot of it was cover three, but it was a tricky cover three that not everybody was running, that not everybody had figured out. Now they do now, I'm sure, because a lot of teams run it in different ways, use it in different various situations. But a lot of his cover three was, still kind of like a man situation, right? When you have that guy creeping down, that big nickel creeping down on the left side, taking away that lane where you don't know if the guy's blitzing, you don't know if he's going in coverage, you don't know if they're trying to double on the out, if they're switching to the receiver, if him and the linebacker are switching with the tight end. You have a lot of questions, right? It makes offenses think, it makes a quarterback think at the line of scrimmage, and you don't have too long at the line of scrimmage to sit there and think, I've never seen this defense before. What are they doing? Or why is this dude moving? Or why the hell, why the hell is there five defensive linemen, right? With two of them outside edge rushers, right? It's a look that not people have seen in a long ass time. We've seen that shit back in the day from a lot of defenses where Lawrence Taylor and James Paul Pierce and these guys, where you'd have three dominant defensive linemen and then two edge rushers on the outside, and just trust your guys behind you, right? Trust your guys behind you to cover, their one third of the field, cover their half of the field, their quarter of the field, whatever it is, whether they're playing quarters, whether they're playing thirds, switching off, just trusting in your guys to be there, to know their play. I think is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And then you have all of that being thrown into Patrick Graham, and his system and what's he's going to implement into what Pete Carroll likes to run. So it just gets better and better daily as I think about it, as I look at it, and the more we break it down. So, man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me, breaking this shit down more and more. I hope I get y'all more and more excited, pumped. I hope y'all wake up with a, you know what I mean? Wake up every day happy, ready to go, counting down the days like I am to football season. Because, man, it is almost here. What are we at? 94 days? 93, I don't know, something in there, but man, appreciate y'all rocking with me. Any more comments? What do we got? How do you think the Raiders are going to guard against Barry McCoker on the Chargers this season? Man, I don't know how we're going to guard against anybody on the Chargers this season. Their offensive line, I'm going to say it now, is got you, bitch. It might very well be the best offensive line in football. All five positions. And if you add tight ends in there that can block, or if they get guys where they can run in 12 personnel with O'Mary and Hampton back there, the Chargers scare me. They scare me. And I hate to be scared in the AFC West. I don't get scared much. But their offensive line is going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem. So I don't know how we're going to block against Barry or Joe Alt or what's the other freak on the other side? Yeah, I don't know, Freddie. I don't know. I don't know, bro. It's a damn good question, man. Their offensive line is nasty. Getzel was only good on scripted plays. Exactly, Alex M. Exactly. Sincere McCormick will be good to go. I don't know. I hope he stays healthy. Unleashed Raider, shout out. Appreciate you with the $1.99. Holla. But yeah, man, I appreciate I've been listening. Sorry I haven't typed much. Just posted. Appreciate you. No, it's cool. As long as you're in the building. And yes, I am number one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, I gotta get the green screen up. That looks horrible. Good thing I wasn't moving around so much. All right. Last time. Raiders. Just have faith, baby.